Hi everyone! Today we're going to be making these really cute little stars. Before we begin, I just wanted to show you that this pattern works with lots of different yarn weights. This smallest one, I used a super fine size 1 sock weight. And then this goes up to a size 2. This is personally my favorite for this pattern. This is a sport weight yarn. This is a 3 DK light worsted weight. And the biggest one we have here is a worsted weight, a size 4 medium yarn. So whatever yarn size you would like to use for this project will work. The yarn coming from your skein is referred to as the working yarn. The first thing we're going to create for this pattern is a magic ring. To create a magic ring, put 2 fingers out like this. Place the yarn over your 2 fingers and then secure it with your thumb. And then take your working yarn and wrap it around your 2 fingers. We're bringing it behind the first piece of yarn. Just like this. Take your hook. We're going to be sliding under the first piece of yarn and over the second piece of yarn, and what we're going to be doing is rotating our hook as we're pulling it through to create a loop. So go ahead and grab that second piece of yarn and rotate just like that. If you need to tighten it, you can just pull on your working yarn. I have my loop here relatively tight. Take our hook and we're going to place it under the yarn we're wrapping around and then pull it through that loop. And now we've created our magic ring. This is the tail to our magic ring. We're going to go ahead and pull this to tighten it just a little bit. What we want to do now is chain 1. To chain, what you're going to do is take your hook underneath your yarn and you're wrapping it around your yarn like this and then pull it through the loop. And there is our chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch. This is just to give us height. We are going to create 10 half double crochets around in the magic ring. To create a half double crochet, we need to first put an extra loop on our hook. You're going to take your hook and wrap it again around your yarn like this, and that gives us an extra loop. And we're going to insert it into the magic ring. Hold the magic ring with your other hand to secure it. And then you're going to again take your hook around the yarn and we're going to pull it through the magic ring. And then you can kind of grab the magic ring here to secure it better. You should have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all 3 rings. Now let's take our stitch marker and we are going to mark this half double crochet that we just created. It's the V right here under your hook. And this will mark our first half double crochet for us so that we don't get confused by the chain 1. Let's make another half double crochet. Yarn over so you can put a loop on your hook. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over. Pull through the magic ring. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through. Next half double crochet, yarn over, place it through the magic ring, yarn over, and pull that through the magic ring. I'm really securing the yarn with my other hand in the magic ring because the magic ring can be very fiddly, so this will help keep it secure. Then yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Let's do that again. Yarn over, insert into the magic ring, yarn over, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert into the magic ring, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert into the magic ring, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, insert into the magic ring, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert into the magic ring, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. We've created 8 half double crochets so far, but we need 10, so go ahead and create your last 2 half double crochets. You want to make sure that you count that you definitely have 10 half double crochets starting from your stitch marker. You're going to count the V's on top. After you've created 10 half double crochets, we are going to close the round. Let's pull on our tail. This is going to tighten the circle, and you can pull this really tight. You want to close the circle as much as you can in the middle. We are going to slit stitch to the first half double crochet that we made. So that is where your stitch marker is. Insert your hook into that stitch, and if this stitch is too tight, you can go ahead and remove the stitch marker if you need to. That's just to show you where the stitch is. Yarn over, pull through that stitch, and then pull through the loop, and that is a slit stitch. Remove the stitch marker from your first stitch, chain 1, and again, this does not count as a stitch. We are going to be creating a couple of stitches into this same first stitch. The first stitch we're going to be doing is a single crochet, so into the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both loops. We are going to mark the first single crochet. Now we're going to create another half double crochet, which is what we did into the magic ring. As a reminder, we first want to yarn over to put a loop on our hook, and we're inserting into the same stitch that we just put the single crochet in, right here. And then yarn over, pull through the stitch. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to create a double crochet, and again into the same stitch. To create a double crochet, it's a lot like a half double crochet, but it has 1 extra step. So yarn over, we're going to place a loop on our hook, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, but this time instead of going through all 3 for a double crochet, you want to yarn over, pull through the first 2, and then you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops, and that is a double crochet. Then we are going to chain 1. And now we're going to make the other half of our first point. So we're going to be doing the same thing, but in reverse. So we yarn over, because we are going to be creating a double crochet into the next stitch. So make sure you find where your next stitch is. Insert into the next stitch. Yarn over. Pull up 3 loops. Yarn over. Pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now we'll be putting a half double crochet into that same stitch. So yarn over to put a loop on your hook, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now let's insert a single crochet into the same stitch. So insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through. We have just completed our first point of our star. We're going to be creating 5 points in total around. If you're going to be creating a flat star, then you don't need to do what I'm about to explain next. But if you're going to be creating a plushy star like this, we're going to be combining 2 of these pieces together and then sewing around. As a beginner, it's going to be helpful if we mark our single crochet, our last single crochet of the point, That way we can put our 2 stars together, and it's going to make sewing a little bit easier, especially if you're a beginner. To mark our single crochet, what we're going to do is put our stitch marker into the back loop of the single crochet that we just created. The back loop is the loop that is facing away from you. This is the front loop, and this is the back loop. Put your stitch marker in the back loop of the single crochet, and if you would like, you're going to put a stitch marker in the back loop of every single crochet that we end with on the point. We're going to be inserting into the next stitch, and sometimes that stitch can be hidden by the previous point, so it's the way that the yarn sits on top of it. Just make sure you pull the yarn back here and make sure there's no stitch hidden. This is our next stitch right here, and we are going to be repeating the pattern that we just did. Insert into the next stitch a single crochet, yarn over, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to yarn over to create a half double crochet into the same stitch. So we're putting that extra loop on our hook, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to be putting a double crochet into the same stitch. Yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then we are going to chain 1. So to chain, take your yarn around your hook and just pull it through the loop. Now we are going into the next stitch, and we will be starting with a double crochet. So yarn over, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to be putting a half double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, then insert a single crochet into the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now again, this is our last single crochet of the point. So if you would like to, go ahead and take your stitch marker and mark that back loop of this single crochet, the one that's facing away from you. Let's walk through one more point together. We're going to be inserting into the next stitch. Make sure you pull your yarn back and make sure there's no stitch hiding. We're going to be starting with a single crochet. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over. We're going to be doing a half double crochet, insert it into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over. We're putting a double crochet into the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then chain 1, yarn over and pull through. Into the next stitch, we are going to be inserting a double crochet, yarn over, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to put a half double crochet into the same stitch, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up 3, yarn over, pull through 3, insert a single crochet into the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, that's our last single crochet of the point. So we're going to take our stitch marker and we are going to mark the back loop only of that stitch. Go ahead and complete your final 2 points, and I will meet you at the end. I have just completed my last star point. You should have 5 points by the end. Once you finish this last single crochet, I'm going to go ahead and mark the back loop only of that last single crochet, and then I'm going to slip stitch to the stitch marker where we had our very first single crochet. Insert your hook into that stitch, and again, you can remove the stitch marker if it's too tight. Then yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop, and then you can go ahead and remove the first stitch marker. Now that one side of our star is complete, go ahead and lift your hook up a bit to loosen the yarn. We are going to cut a tail for sewing. So if this is your first circle or your first star, then you want to just leave like a semi-long tail. We are going to weave this tail through the plushie star. If you're not making a plushie, a semi-long tail will be good, and you can then weave it through the back of your star. When you get to your second star, like I have, we need a longer tail because we are going to be sewing these 2 pieces together. I'm going to just remove my hook for now, and then I'm taking my yarn and I'm just sort of wrapping it around the star very loosely. For this pattern, I've found that wrapping it around twice is plenty long, but it's always good to have more yarn than you need than to have it be too short. So go ahead and even if you want to, you can wrap it around 3 times, 2.5, whatever you're comfortable with. Just make sure your tail is nice and long so that we can sew the pieces together. Take your hook and we're just gonna pull up the yarn. I'm going to take my 2 star pieces and I'm putting the back side of them together. The back side is the side that has your magic ring tail sticking out of it. So put the 2 back sides together, and I like to line up the stars where I have the long tails. We are going to go around, and we don't need 2 stitch markers, so we are going to connect the stars together. Starting over here, go ahead and release your stitch marker and then bring it through to the other side where your other stitch marker is, and then secure it and remove that stitch marker. And now they are connected together. Go ahead and repeat that same thing around the star. Now our star is connected together all the way around, so this will make sewing a little bit easier, especially like I said, if you're a beginner, because we basically have these little landmarks. So if your stitches aren't lining up, you can kind of undo them and go back to the last point. Now we're going to be ignoring our semi-long tail, and we are taking our long sewing tail. Use a darning needle and thread your yarn through. So just keep your other tail out of the way because we're just going to weave it in later at the end. Starting with the first stitch marker, I'm going to insert my darning needle through those 2 stitches. And I'm taking it away from me. And again, we are only doing the back loops. We're going to be doing the back loops all the way around. Pull your needle through. Now we're going to be inserting our needle this way towards us, and we're going to be alternating away and towards. Find the next stitch and put your needle through the back loop. The back loops are facing each other. So the back loop of this star is over here, these loops right here, and the back loops of this star are these loops right here. They're both facing each other. So go through the back loops. Pull your needle towards you, find the next stitch, insert into the back loop and into the back loop of the other side. pull it away. Coming back towards us, find the next stitch. And if you get confused at all, you can sort of separate this and you'll see where the last one is coming from. So insert into the next back loop and into the back loop of this side. Pull it towards you, insert into the back loop, pull it away, into the next back loops, pull it towards you, find the next back loops, pull it through. Now we should be at our next stitch marker. You shouldn't have any extra stitches on either side. That's how you'll know that your stitches are perfectly lined up. So go ahead and insert where the back loop is for the stitch marker and pull it towards us. And there we go. That's why I like having the stitch markers, because if you are off, so if you had like one stitch left on this side that you didn't go through, then you'll know that you missed a stitch. And you can kind of pull this apart and pull the yarn up and then go back. And then you don't have to go back that far, because you can just go back to the first stitch marker, or whatever the last stitch marker was. The single crochet is usually very small, so just make sure you're not missing that stitch. Go ahead and repeat this the entire way around until you get to your last point. That's when we are going to begin stuffing. Okay, I am at the last point of my star, so I'm going to go ahead and start filling my star. So take your polyfill, sort of separate it a bit. You just want to take a small amount of polyfill at a time, stick it into your star. I like to take just a wooden chopstick, take whatever you have lying around, and I just like to use it to help put the polyfill into where I want it. So I'm just slowly taking a little bit of polyfill at a time, and I am stuffing it into each point of the star. You can also use scrap yarn to stuff your star. Whatever you want to use to fill it, it doesn't have to be polyfill. When I have all of the points filled except for the top here, I'm just going to set this polyfill in here and sort of pat it down a little bit. I definitely want to make sure I have some polyfill in the last point, just like that. And then go ahead and finish sewing up your star. I am back where we started, so I'm going to go ahead and insert into the same stitch marker that we started with. I'm just going to insert and pull it through there. Now we can go ahead and remove our stitch markers. We don't need them anymore. The last thing we need to do is hide our yarn through the star. So insert your hook right where your yarn is coming from. I'm going to insert it down. I'm inserting between the two stars, and then just sort of wiggle your needle through and just bring it up anywhere through between the two stars. And then reinsert it back to where it's coming from, and then come out to another random point of the star. And you can just do this however many times you'd like to secure your yarn. When you feel like your yarn is secure, go ahead and pull a little tightly here, and then take your scissors and cut it. And now let's hide our other piece of yarn, and we're just doing the same exact thing. Alright, our little plushy star is all complete. It's looking super cute. I hope you all had fun following this tutorial. You can find the written version of this pattern on my website, lootfluff.com. That is linked in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye!